This content is brought to you by I Trust Capital, which is a great platform that allows you to easily invest in crypto without worrying about taxes or fees. I Trust Capital allows you to invest in crypto through an individual retirement account or IRA. IRAs are tax sheltered accounts, which means all of your crypto is tax free and can even grow tax free over time. The process of signing up with I Trust Capital is very easy. They have a mobile app. They have 25 plus cryptocurrencies. They have full support, a dedicated team ready to help you. And it is free. And once again, 100% free to sign up with I Trust Capital. There are no hidden fees and there's no monthly subscription or membership. They also have great security. They utilize Coinbase custody for all their custodial services. So you don't have to worry. It is institutional grade crypto custody that they are using. This is a great platform. Once again, it is free to sign up. So visit the link in the description and go check it out. If you sign up with my link, you get a $100 funding bonus. So once again, check the link in the description. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Ron Hammond, who's the Director of Government Relations at the Blockchain Association. Ron, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, Ron, it is a great day. It is your birthday, and we got the Biden crypto executive order.
It is a hell of a day, but it is a great day. So lots of excitement here in DC for both reasons, but obviously more the executive order, which happy to get into shortly.
Well, I know you're busy, so we're not going to take too much of your time. I would love to get your thoughts and perspective on the executive order. It seems to be getting positive responses. What is your take?
It is a really positive development. Honestly, if you think about it, I think a lot of folks kind of forget the last administration was not very helpful when it comes to crypto. I mean, we had the president himself tweet that he wasn't a fan of Bitcoin. We had the midnight rulemaking attempt by Secretary Mnuchin at the time when he was at Treasury. So, we've always been concerned about this current administration, where their posture is. We know where some of the agencies are. But, from the actual White House itself, we've had some conversations and they've been really great about at least, listening to the industry and getting feedback and taking a, really holistic approach. And this executive order is really just the epitome of that. This is a desire to learn a lot more about the industry rather than just doing some hasty rulemakings or some last minute legislative fixes or attempts, as we saw with the infrastructure bill. This is an administration that wants to learn from the industry. They want to focus on a variety of topics. I know some folks might be concerned about what areas we're looking at, but I say, look, there's a positive development here that they are actually taking the time to solicit feedback from industry experts. And that's very similar to what the Clinton administration did with the internet. So I think this is a very, very good sign in terms of let's pause, but let's also assess, let's learn from folks in the industry. There are areas that maybe the industry needs to make sure we do better at. And I really look forward to having those conversations with the folks at the White House. But this is a really awesome step from the Biden administration. And I really look forward to having more conversations with the agency heads. I mean, already with even today, we've had, I believe 2 agencies now today reached out to talk about what was in the executive order and kind of the mandates that were called for. So we're really excited to hit the ground running. It's been very busy on crypto in Congress, but now we get to focus a lot more on the White House and the regulators. So we're really excited on that front.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it earlier that this could have easily been negative and it could have been some heavy-handed situation given what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, sanctions and so forth, but it's a move in the right direction. And I was pleasantly surprised, as I think many folks, and it seems to be a call to action, rallying the troops, all the regulators and the regulatory bodies to come together and put together their heads together around crypto.
Exactly. And I think actually, it's a lot of folks that view regulation in a bad light, but actually regulation is really important. That's to make sure that there's consumer protection elements in place, make sure that there's actually a market guardrails to make sure that we can at least know where the bounds are. And that's very, very helpful in terms of creation of jobs, creation of legal entities in terms of who's the proper regulators, who's the clear channel. So this regulatory clarity that the industry has been dying for years, this is the first step to kind of getting there. Now, mind you, there's other efforts in Congress that are currently in the works that are also important, but it's important to have buy-in from the administration, and we do have some of that right now for this executive order. So again, really positive development, but it'll be very busy. Even though it was already busy, it'll be even busier this year.
Ron, I think you guys probably need to bring in more people to the Blockchain Association. Sounds like you're going to be really.
We're hiring, so we're more than happy to have some folks join. We're looking for a policy council. We're going to be looking for some help on the government relations team probably down the road. So we've expanded our membership, but we've also seen other groups grow as well. So I think, rising tides lift all boats. So even if they're, Blockchain Association member or not, I think it's just great to have all these folks in here in DC really lobbying as well as advocating for the industry. So it's been really exciting. And the number of group chats I'm in with either former colleagues or coworkers who are now with crypto companies is really exciting. So I think we're going to see this trend continue. And again, we'll keep that bipartisan approach along the way. So it's really exciting.
Now, we have the Russia-Ukraine situation happening, and certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine and even those in Russia who are against the invasion. And Congress, of course, rightfully so, has been focused on that, and there's been sanctions and a lot of things happening. What are you hearing with regards to how Ukraine was accepting crypto donations and things along those lines? And are members of Congress worried that Russia will use crypto to try to bypass sanctions?
Yeah, I will say that this is a very important topic, and this is going to dominate probably the rest of this congressional session up until November when the elections occur. This is a very much of a hot topic. There are almost daily to weekly briefings from various national security agencies to members of Congress on this topic, especially also hearings coming up down the pipeline. What we're seeing right now is that at least when the invasion started, Congress was actually not in session. They were back in the districts, and they came back last week, and it was just a full frontal assault in terms of trying to get caught up to speed of what's happening, what else can we do, and there was a really cohesiveness in terms of Republicans and Democrats saying, look, we got to do something more. We got to make sure we put the pressure on Russia, and they're looking for everything pretty much short of troops on the ground. Everything's on the table, whether that be more sanctions, whether that be more support. They're looking at all of it. So when it came to crypto, though, we're seeing kind of at least a lot of folks who are not familiar with this space, they're jumping to the conclusion that when the ruble plummets, the Russians are going to be, people are going to be looking for, store of value or ways to at least interact with folks in terms of financial transactions. And whether they're going to turn to commodities, or they're going to turn to, diamonds or some bar system. But we see a lot of members of Congress instantly think crypto. And that was very apparent with Elizabeth Warren's letter recently with 3 other Democrat senators to Treasury, highlighting her concerns about crypto and potentially being used to evade sanctions. And the good thing is that the Treasury Department has really been upfront about this. They've been engaging with members and staff. They've held multiple briefings on the Hill, as well as made public statements saying, we don't think this is an issue. We are actively monitoring the data. It's not there to liquidity-wise to actually be a concern in our books. We don't think this is an issue that requires legislation nor additional sanctions. So that's been really encouraging to hear, especially, again, the Treasury Department was something that we were had a little tiff with back in the infrastructure fight. But they have really staffed up, and they have some really smart folks. And it's really good to see them kind of pushing back, even against their own party, saying, no, this is not an issue. And speaking of party lines here, I will just highlight too, this is not the Democrats solely raising this concern. There's Republicans as well raising this concern. And these are typically folks who don't sit on the banking committees. They usually sit on the more the foreign affairs committees. So they don't deal typically with crypto in their daily activities and such within the committee. So we're dealing with a whole new set of members. We're dealing with a Congress that's united and wants to show action and wants to act. And then we had crypto kind of in the crosshairs. So we're launching a really big education campaign here on the Hill to make sure folks on the staff level, as well as members of Congress, are up to speed on this and making sure they see the data. And again, the great thing about cryptos and groups like Chainalysis is that you can see all the data there, and you can see how the outflows are. Yep. And hopefully we'll have at least come to or reach to the point that the Treasury Department has within Congress. But I can say for sure there's going to be hearings coming up on this topic. Even if it's just generally on crypto, this is top of mind for members of Congress all across the spectrum. And I expect we will have more hearings in various committees on this topic or something similar. So just be prepared for this to dominate until November.
That's such great insight, Ron. I also saw this morning that Senator Cynthia Lummis put out a tweet saying that she's working on a bill, a crypto-friendly bill. Can you tell us about that and your respective thoughts?
Yeah, so she's been one of our biggest champions here on Capitol Hill, and she's got a great staff who've been working really hard on this piece of legislation. And this is something that she's even said, back when she was running for Congress, that this is a priority for her. So it's really awesome to see that this efforts are coming to fruition. And the good thing too is that also it's not just her in the Senate. We have a lot of other champions, and she's really rallied those senators to this cause. And so it's really exciting to see her as a lightning rod and a huge advocate for the industry, getting more folks involved. In terms of the legislation itself, it's very comprehensive from what we've seen so far. We're still going through it right now on the industry side, but the reality is right now is that there's a lot of focus right now on the sanctions. There's a lot of focus right now on stable coins. I think if regardless of if the bill is introduced entirely or it's in smaller sections, I think the thing to watch out for, at least this year, is just any legislation in regards to stable coins, or I think we're going to see some more from various other offices coming out pretty soon. And then if there's going to be some bipartisan agreement to that. And we saw executive order to go back quickly to CBDCs, because there's a huge focus on central bank digital currencies. I think we're going to see a lot more conversation on that, because the report itself in the EO called for several legislative proposals in regards to CBDCs, which kind of does tie into stable coins in some respects. So stay tuned for more updates on that front. It'll be a very busy April. I potentially will see something in March, but it's really exciting to see her get more involved. But stay tuned, because there's a lot more other senators involved who are going to have some legislation soon.
Finally, I want to ask, is there any major hearings that are coming up that you can give us a hint on? I know usually they announce them, but with press releases and so forth, but anything we should keep an eye out on?
The House typically announces it, about a whole month in advance. So they kind of lay out what's going to happen. So for example, March 29th, we're going to have a hearing in House Financial Services Committee on CBDCs, which will inevitably bring up probably stable coins. I imagine most or some members of Congress can bring up crypto and sanctions. Whether related or not, I think that's just going to be where members tend to gravitate towards. Additionally, I think the Senate is a little more clandestine in terms of when they announce their hearings, usually sometimes a week or 5 days. So I think we're going to see some hearings in the Senate pretty soon on this topic. And finally, I will say, I think we're going to see some more committees that we haven't dealt with before. Again, I'll probably stress foreign affairs committees and national security subcommittees. They're going to probably dive into this issue as well. Again, whether it be just crypto and sanctions or CBDCs or stable coins, this topic is definitely going to be something that they're all interested in right now. And we've had several very intense conversations with both sides of the aisle on this, from those who don't understand the issue at all to those who understand it but have a more warped view just because of the headlines. So it's a new set of members for us, but we're excited. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of folks now on the ground here in DC who are helping us out. And it's really exciting to at least kind of all coordinate together to make sure that we put the industry in the best light forward.
For sure. Ron, you always bring insightful information, and I thank you for all the great work you and the folks at the Blockchain Association are doing. And, we'll have to have you back on in another week or two to give us some updates, but thank you for joining me today.
Always happy to help. I really appreciate everything you're doing as well. So thanks again.